You're listening to the Emo Metal Gamers Podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Frank Berna for Evil Metal Gamers post E3. Doing this a little bit different today. Tomorrow morning I have back surgery, so rather than do the typical episode, we are going to do it just like this. I'm going to give my whole evaluation of E3, what I saw, what I thought, grade, analysis. It was, in my opinion, a really, really solid year for games, but we definitely had some just straight trash, straight dumpster fire. So I'm kind of going with this whole concept of the good, the bad, and the missing. First and foremost, the good. Cyberpunk 2077 sounds amazing. Getting the visual at Microsoft's conference, they closed out with the hacking of the computers, like the program or whatever, because it is Cyberpunk. One of the big concepts of it is the hacking idea. It sounds incredible. It's solely first person, which a lot of people are ripping the game apparently on forums, on Twitter, because these are the people who made the Witcher series, Project Red Key, and or is it Project Red Key? I always mix it up. It's like CD Project Red Key, something along those lines. Regardless, they made the Witcher franchise. I'm not a big fan of the Witcher. Everybody knows this, but I'm excited for Cyberpunk. When I played The Witcher, when I saw The Witcher, it is a big, beautiful, vast game. It's absolutely breathtaking when you look at it. The gameplay wasn't really my cup of tea. I'm not here to bash on it. I'm more in line to talk about why people are bashing Cyberpunk without even seeing it. It's all first person. They're saying that it is faster than Deus Ex, but slower than Borderlands. So kind of in the middle, which I'm totally cool with. The character, it's a completely customizable character. You could be a guy, you could be a girl. You apparently have a whole backstory that you can create and create this really intricate character. There's NPCs that you can have conversations with. You can have sex with them. You can have a relationship with them. They're really building this world. And if you played The Witcher, you know a lot of those aspects go into it. You get your missions from NPCs. You can hack things. You can shoot things. It's an open world. You'll be able to drive. When I hear this, you'll be able to drive. I'm wondering if there's going to be other vehicles, because in the trailer you have this Lamborghini muscle car, futuristic hybrid thing going on. I wonder if they're going to utilize other cars. And from what I'm gathering and from what a lot of the internet's gathering, it's just going to be based solely on this one city. What's great about a video game based on one city is we can get DLC. And if we know anything about Project Red or CD Projekt or whoever they are, they can really make a good DLC. So I give extreme props to them. That personally is my game of the show. With that, we have the huge surprise that a lot of people weren't expecting. You had Sony drop that huge bomb of Resident Evil 2. Not a lot of people were expecting it. I knew it was coming sooner rather than later because it was hinted at completely over the shoulder, Resident Evil 4 style, using a lot of what made the game great in the past. I've seen a lot of the old levels. I've seen a lot of the old design, just updated, fresh coat of paint, much like how Resident Evil got remastered on the GameCube, and that remaster was out of this world beautiful. This game takes that to that next level. It looks scary. It looks gritty. Hopefully they kind of build more on it. I would like to see more of Raccoon City in the beginning rather than just dumping us into the police station. I would much like to see that. Hopefully, they also do the game A, game B, one side with Leon. Then when you beat it, you get game B with Claire, or vice versa, to add that extra gameplay. We did see Mr. X or Buddy or whatever you called him, that's quasi nemesis. He's going to be in there. That looked really good. Sony crushed it with Ghost of Tsushima. It Sucker Punch is taking this Japanese franchise and gonna go to town with it. It looks beautiful. Guys, if you have not seen that trailer, you need to go see this. There's a sword fight where he's fighting this woman, whoever the protagonist is. I don't think we got a name yet, but he's fighting this woman in this giant pile of leaves, excuse me. And as they're walking, the leaves kick up and they make a trail. So each individual leaf is an actual item. It's not just a pre-rendered background, which just goes to show the extreme length they're going to make this game unbelievable. That was it looked a little bit Demon Souls-esque in the level of difficulty, where the characters will be really hard to fight. Like one or two hits will kill you, but at the same time, one or two hits will kill the enemy. They had a bunch of kill scenes in there. I really like that one a lot. We got The Last of Us 2 gameplay. It is brutal. It is violent. It is everything that I was hoping for. There's a lot more customization. Ellie can make different kind of arrows. There were stealth kills. They showed some things that I think are just rendered for E3. Ellie got shot with an arrow in her shoulder and she ripped the arrow out. I'm not sure how much that's going to go over or if that's not going to be in the game. That I don't know. I would doubt it, to be quite honest. I'm not really believing that much in that aesthetic. However, the game was beautiful. At the E3 party that we had at my house, one of the things you see Ellie walk through the trees. I'm like, oh my God, look at the vines. Everybody made fun of me because I mentioned the detail. But then I go on Twitter today and Machinima, the Twitter account, they said, look at those ferns. And I was laughing because they actually acknowledged what I saw. So shout out to you guys out there. God, we had so many games. Spider-Man is Sony's answer to Rocksteady's game, or Insomniac, excuse me, answer to the Arkham games. It's really straightforward, just punching, and you have action fights, and then you have stealth, and you have combos, and web slinging, and instant like take out a guy if you build up your combo, which looks awesome. I'm really excited for Spider-Man, but it's one of those games that it didn't need to be shown, but they showed it anyways. And speaking of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Nioh 2 got teased as well. So Nioh 2, I loved the first Nioh, even though I never beat it. I'm really looking forward to a Nioh 2. That will be a day one for me, just because the first one I really enjoyed, and I was really upset with myself that I didn't day one that game. So that will definitely be a day one game. Getting away from Sony now, Ori from Microsoft really surprised me. It was absolutely stunning. The colors and the visualization. 2D side scroller with a lot of stuff going on in the background. Very visually appealing. I'm into 2D games, that old school gamer of me. I like to see the 2D game and get that fresh coat of paint from the next generation systems. So Ori looks really good. That's Xbox exclusive. So that I give a lot of respect to that. What else did we get? We got the Division 2. The Division 2 is it warrants the sequel. After seeing the gameplay, we got a new location. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. It's not going to be in New York City, like I said. So Ubisoft shut my ass up. That's good. That's great, actually. The game looks fluid. It looks beautiful. It looks dark. It looks really dark, darker than the first one by a long stretch. Um, they're also putting forward this aspect of not just leveling up your character and trying to get the max level. No, they actually want you to play the story mode. They want you to beat the story mode. Because when you beat the story mode, then you unlock a class. And in unlocking a class, you now can choose whether you want to be like the sniper style character, a rogue silent killer with this crossbow, which I'm guessing doesn't make any sound, or you could be a heavy gunner and shoot these big ass grenade launcher bullets at people. Bullet sponges, it looks like it, but from what I'm seeing in the trailer, bullet sponges are going to be guys in kind of armor, and you can destroy the armor. And if you can break off the armor and destroy the armor, they're not going to be as bullet sponge-esque. They got a little drone now that will fly around and help you out to assist you. I can't recall if I saw a shield or not. It looks really, really good. It looks really polished. I'm glad that they announced and released that. The From Software game that everybody was arguing about, what is it, Tenshu? Is it Bloodborne 2? No, it's a game called Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And going off the Nioh idea, it is a completely new game, new franchise, new IP that's based in a samurai realm. But unlike Nioh, where you are an Englishman in Japan, this one looks like you're a Japanese warrior. They showed gameplay, but they didn't explain a lot. It's a From Software game, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be unforgiving. But I like it. I'll take it. I want it. Um, Ubisoft released Beyond Good and Evil 2. It looked really good. I'm really impressed with what Ubisoft did with Beyond Good and Evil 2. They're actually doing it's a cheap cop out. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely crowdsourcing your material because you're trying to make such a big game that you don't have the manpower to do it. So hey, what are we gonna do? We're gonna have the fans make the music and give us art and maybe even NPC background story. That's fine. It's cool. I dig it, especially because I'm gonna participate. I may be bashing it a little bit, but I think it's really cool, especially that I'm a graffiti artist to try to get my graffiti out there, just as stupid as it may be, just to see it in that moment. I think for a lot of gamers, it means a lot to us to see something that we created to be put into a video game, and we're a part of it, and we'll forever be a part of it. I really think that is really awesome. Is there anything else that's really, really big? I can't recall anything too big. Oh, wait a second. We got gameplay of Death Stranding. We got a new trailer from Death Stranding, and it's a lot to take in. I may not dive too deep into Death Stranding just because I'm I don't know what's fully going on. I'm still processing it. When you see the gameplay, the background and the level rendering, because it did have gameplay footage, is gorgeous. The main character of Sam Porter, who's played by Norman Reedus, that looked clunky. It didn't look polished at all. So I think we definitely have at least a 2020 release date, if not longer. Um, it's it's getting me excited because I'm seeing a lot of stuff, and I don't want to waste too much time diving into this game. I think I'll save it for another episode because we got other stuff to get to. And trust me, guys, when I sit there and say that I spent almost a vast majority of my morning just dissecting it, I've got screenshots and I'm comparing stuff. Hideo's actually given a speech on Wednesday. No, what? No, Thursday. Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. He's giving a speech on Thursday to really get into Death Stranding. So Hideo Kojima Thursday afternoon is going to be conducting this kind of experiment with that. So going from good to now going to bad. For me, the worst thing about this E3 were these three things: EA, Bethesda, and Square Enix. EA was straight trash. EA announced Command and Conquer Mobile, and they spent 15 goddamn minutes on it, showing this godforsaken mobile game. Everybody's ripping it, including myself. Go screw yourself, EA. You failed at E3. You have Madden, you had NBA Live, you showed all this sports, you had showed FIFA, but you only showed a little bit of it. You didn't get into it. And because it's a sports game and it's the same thing you churn out every goddamn year like a Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, it's just straight trash, and you can't really justify it outside of this is a way to get pros to spend money. God, I hate you so much. You didn't announce anything. The only thing you showed was Anthem, and it looks like Destiny. There's not a lot that we could take home with it. You showed some gameplay of it, but there's nothing there that's really showing that this game is going to be worthy of anything. Will I play it? Yes. But does it have me excited? Absolutely not. From there, looking at you, Bethesda, you said that this was going to be your biggest showing ever. And yet you really didn't show anything. You showed us Fallout 76, which seems great. 4 times bigger than Fallout 4. Awesome. Then you said it's always online multiplayer. No, that's not good. You could say that you could play online whenever you want, but if it's always online, now I have to worry about the settlement or whatever I build getting bombed, because apparently if you find all these access codes, you can just launch nuclear bombs all over the map and destroy the map. It's one of the reasons why when I play Grand Theft Auto Online, I play by myself, because people ruin the game. People are assholes, and I don't want to play with assholes. I don't know why this game's going to be completely online, so you lost me there. Then you did give me something. You gave me Doom 2, but you gave me a teaser. And that was it. I can forgive you for that. Then you bring out Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls Online. I don't play ESO. I know ESO has a following, so I'll let that slide. But then you bring out Blades, which is a mobile game that plays like Fruit Ninja, but Fallout. Why? Why do this to us? It looks bad. It doesn't look like something we want. So you do these things. And then you want to end the show. And the way you end the show is we have these 2 big announcements. One of them I knew, and I'll give credit to Jose. One of them he guessed. But there was no point in it because, like I said, with the one that Jose guessed in Elder Scrolls 6 and the one I guessed in Starland, they are probably 5 years away. 5 years. So you gave us a teaser that just showed 1, outer space, and 2, a mountain. And you literally said, Todd Howard said, games coming for next generation. So these games aren't even ready yet. So what the hell are you doing there? Why? Like, dude, you don't need to announce it. We don't. That's dumb. You could have focused on something else, something better, and you didn't. So I was really, really upset with that. I don't know why they did that. But now we get to the king of the dumpster fire, the gasoline, if you will. Square Enix. Now I know Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and it looked good, and this, that, and the other. But everything you showed, first and foremost, you didn't even do a live feed. You did a promotional video where nobody's actually communicating on what's going on outside of the guy who's helping make Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks good. Not going to lie, not going to front. But everything after that, the Final Fantasy 14. Oh, and then you have Final Fantasy 14 meets Monster Hunter. And you have these 2 JRPGs. I think one of them is called Dragon Quest. Then you show Kingdom Hearts 3, but what you showed Kingdom Hearts 3 isn't even anything original. We saw it the day before. You give us a rehashed Octopath Traveler. I feel like I'm missing something else. But if that seems short, boys and girls, it's because it was short. 30 minutes long, and it didn't show anything. Didn't give us anything. And everybody, why waste the time? Why waste everybody's time? If that's what you're going to do, why not just showcase your games for Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo? You don't need to waste your time trying to show us something that nobody gives a shit about. Stop wasting people's time. It was so bad. And I was so angry because they didn't give us anything. Only thing they gave us was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and that's something that they could have did at Xbox or Sony. It was completely unnecessary. Oh, Just Cause 3. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one. I forgot a game that nobody's going to play. Like Just Cause 3, or Just Cause 2, or Just Cause 1. It's not a game that people play. It didn't deserve its own slot. Sorry. No. So, we did the good, we did the bad. Now we're going to the missing. And the missing, we didn't get Final Fantasy VII. Nothing on Final Fantasy VII. Not even a whisper. And when Square Enix says they're going to have their own showcase, we're expecting Final Fantasy VII. Something. You announced the game 2 years ago. We had nothing since. Apparently you announced that Avengers game that a lot of people have been talking about. We didn't get an Avengers game. So that was kind of a letdown. We didn't get we didn't see Bloodborne 2. So I guess that one's a kind of a whisper out there that's never going to happen. We didn't get anything from Rocksteady. Apparently the DC game or another Batman game, we didn't get that. Granted, we are getting Spider-Man, which is kind of a knockoff, but c'est la vie, it is what it is. We didn't get anything from Rocksteady. And the big one that I was actually quite surprised with, we didn't get any fighting games. Not a hint, not a whisper. Now, if you watched pre-shows, they did talk about Soul Calibur 6 a little bit. But we didn't hear anything from anybody. We didn't hear anything from Ed Boon, Mortal Kombat, or an Injustice 2. We didn't hear anything regarding Killer Instinct, which I was kind of surprised that we didn't get from Microsoft, because that's been a staple of Microsoft. They've been doing that as seasons now. I think they're in season 3 going to season 4, and we didn't get anything from there. Nothing new on the Street Fighter realm, and I know that Street Fighter said that they're done making games, but no new character announcements, nothing along those lines. And Soul Calibur is made by Namco, so of course we're not going to get any Tekken news. But there was a real big lack of fighters, and also, and I'm kind of happy about it, there was a lack of first-person shooters. I mean, they announced Battlefield, they announced Call of Duty, and the devotion to Rainbow Six, and getting more operators. But other than that, we didn't get any FPSs. So the fighter and the FPS have gone by the wayside a little bit, which is fine with me. I mean, we get an overabundance of FPSs. The fighter I was a little bit upset about not getting any, not seeing any, but that was it. So overall, E3 was good. I'm gonna give my overall ratings, and when you hear my overall ratings, you're probably like, well, what the hell? How can you say that E3 was good when you hear these ratings? But it's true. The ratings on what I'm guessing or what I'm giving the games is how I see it. EA, you failed. You got an F. You suck. Do better. Xbox, giving it a B+. They announced that they're getting Halo back. They announced Gears of War 5. They announced Gears Pop. They announced Forza Horizon. They announced Ori. They got some other first-party stuff. They're buying studios to build on their franchise. And they announced some good games. So I gave them a B+. They had a very good show. Everything was well explained, well laid out. You got gameplay for some games, you got trailers for the other. Good show. Bethesda, D minus. I know some people like Fallout. I know some people like ESO. So I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And I gave you a passing grade with a D. But that other stuff that you put out there is nonsense. Square Enix, F. Got it. Yeah, that was so bad. Ubisoft, solid B. They showed a lot. The Beyond Good and Evil, they had actual gameplay, even though it looks like it's still far off. They did give a trailer for that. They dove deeper into the Division 2. They've already talked about how they're going to continue to support. They're going to continue to support Rainbow Six. They're going to continue to support For Honor. They're doing a whole new season with Chinese fighters this time. The samurais, those are Japanese. In case you don't understand Asian culture, the samurai is a Japanese. So now they're going with the Chinese style characters. There's 4 new ones. That looks really cool. Also, they're giving a free the first startup. So the initial first game of For Honor, that is free for PC. So that got brownie points for me as well. And for me, last but not least, Sony got a B. Sony would have gotten an A. With the games that they showed, the games that they presented, that was a solid A, especially with that Resident Evil 2 that nobody saw coming. The gameplay of The Last of Us 2, absolutely extraordinary. Seeing more gameplay of Spider-Man, all that stuff, because it's all first-party stuff, and they're dedicated to it, would have been an A. However, their conference was hot garbage because they were too artsy for their own good. They built multiple stages so that the people could see it, and in that, we had to wait for people to get up from one seat and move to another. And then they kind of didn't announce that the show was over. They kind of had all these weird interviews. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. So that was that. It was really unusual. And because it was just so messed up, it fell from an A to a B. For those of you who don't know, I'm really biased with my games. I do not like Nintendo at all. I'm going to say it. Even though I'm going to get a Switch, but I'm getting a Switch for Octopath Traveler. I can't rate Nintendo because I got too much bias and I don't care for it. So for those of you guys who like Nintendo, you can leave that one up to yourself. Now, with that, it's a F, a B, a D, a B plus, D minus, F, B, and B. How could that be a good show when 3 of the things basically failed? Because the other 3 were so strong and they were so good, and they announced some really good games. And I'm really happy with the state of gaming, and with Sony announcing basically that the new system won't be out till about 2020, 2021. That gives life for the last hurrah for video games. Another 2 years, and I'll say it, another 2 years, and I'm about ready for the next system. Keep going with these games, and then at the end, I'm ready for a new system. So that being said, my top 5 games of the show. Honorable mention: Ghost of Tsushima. If it was a top 10, that game would have came in number 6 hands down. Number 5, Microsoft's Ori. It really impressed me. Looked really, really good. Number 4, Division 2. Looked awesome. They explained a lot. They showed a lot. Comes out 3 days after my birthday, so I'm really excited for that one. They didn't announce anything about the crest or the shield that are going to be available for the Division 1. So I'm interested to see what that's going to look like, when that's going to be taking place. I'm going to be jumping on a lot. So if you are on PlayStation, you want to hit me up, let me know. Send us an email. Number 3, Last of Us 2. Huge Last of Us fan. This would have been number 1, but there are 2 other games that took the cake. Number 2, Resident Evil 2. That game, going to be awesome. Coming out next year, spring, not spring, well, basically spring, but January, February. I can't put my finger on the exact date. But that's coming out. That's a day one. That's one of my favorite video games of all time. Seeing that's a prize. Put that at number 2. But nothing in my heart of hearts can get me away from this Cyberpunk 2077. This is, in my personal opinion, what I think is going to be. I don't think it's coming out next year. I don't think it's going to be a 2019. I think it's going to be a 2020 game. But I'm assuming that this game is going to be the 2020 game of the year. Hands down, nothing's touching it. That being said, from there, what renewed me, what kind of got me excited for something new, my renewed interest in the game, Beyond Good and Evil 2, I really think that what they're doing with that whole crowdsourcing and allowing gamers to be part of the creative process, I can see a lot of game developers going this way. The GoFundMe, social media, all that stuff, it's allowing gamers to be more creative. The modding that we've seen done in Grand Theft Auto, in Fallout, in Skyrim, we as gamers like to add to the story, and they're utilizing that. So Beyond Good and Evil 2, that really piqued my interest seeing it there. Biggest disappointment of the show, obviously EA, Bethesda, Square Enix, they pooped the bed. That was it. It was a great show. Sony killed it, but Microsoft, I give the winner of taking the show. Microsoft came out strong. They started strong and they were strong all the way through. They ended strong. Great showing. Bravo to Microsoft. Sony would have had it, but man, they really fucked up. It's like when one of my students gives a paper and just it's all over the place, and I can tell that they really didn't try or they weren't into it fully. It's what I got from Sony. They let me down from a presentation, but the quality was still there. So they still got that good grade. It's just, man, they slapped it together. So it was really good. Looking forward to next year because I think we're going to get a lot more gameplay from games like Death Stranding, from Cyberpunk. I'm interested to see what Microsoft's going to continue to bring. We'll probably get Neo 2. We're going to get a lot of stuff in the future. So the future looks good for gaming. That being said, I'm going to leave you guys now. Tomorrow morning I got surgery. I know I'm not trying to get a pity party, just letting you guys know the reason for the format being different. Hopefully everything goes well. I'll tweet us out. I'll put a tweet out letting you know how I do. I mean, I know there's not many of you who read it or whatever, but I still got mad love for all you guys. And then we should be back at it normal format next week. That's really all I got. Switching it over to Jose. Love, peace, and happiness. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
So now that you guys heard Frank's version of how much he loved E3, I guess it's my turn. My name is Jose Roldan. I am the second co-host, or the main host, whatever you want to call me, on the Evil Metal Gamers podcast. We had to do it differently since Frank was going to get surgery. So I guess it's my turn to be talking about what was the things that I liked the most in E3, the good, the bad, and the missing. So what do I want to talk about first? I guess we could say start with the good, right? We're going to talk about my favorite games. Well, I'm going to talk about what my favorite games are. Let's start off with Resident Evil. One of the most shocking videos of E3 this year was Resident Evil. The way it started off with the perspective of the rat on the trailer. I had no idea that was a Resident Evil trailer. I had no clue. And it's funny that they did it through the rat's perspective, since the rats was what caused the epidemic in Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2. Now, one of the things that I truly love about this remake is that I think they're using the engine that they used for Resident Evil 7, because the characters don't look the same. If I'm not mistaken, Leon kind of looked the same as in 4 and 3 and I think they showed him in 5 when he was a playable character in the multiplayer. It's a new fresh paint. He doesn't look like the regular Leon that we know, but he does definitely look like he's young, maybe in his 20 to 22 years old. He's fresh off the force first day, and he comes into shit. I was watching the gameplay of the game and let me tell you that I was pretty impressed. First of all, the animation of the zombies is like I've never seen before. I mean, it's really good animation. The way they're shambling around, and when you shoot them, the damage that it makes on their face or on their body, you'll see it and it stays there intact, and you can cut their limbs off, and it's pretty impressive. When they grab you, it kind of like rushes in. Do you see that? You see them, they're slow, and then in less than a second they're on you. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was also cool that they're using claustrophobia to really freak you out. If you watch the environment of the game, it's all pretty much like dark with the flashlight, and you see the zombies, and there's really little places to run around. And it's totally different from when you play Resident Evil 4, where you have a lot more space to be running around and avoiding the villagers. Now it seems like there are such tight places, and it looks like the zombies do massive damage. Claire also looks differently, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I heard that Leon's voice actor is back, the guy who's been doing originally. But I think Claire is different. One of the things also that I enjoyed about it was that they use the same map, or it looks like it's the same map. You can see a lot of things in there that are recognized from the original Resident Evil 2. And Resident Evil 2 is probably my favorite one of all the franchise, and I love that they remade it. If there was one thing I wanted to do for this game, which I hope they do, is if they're going to do a DLC, let the DLC be Resident Evil 3. You don't have to remake Resident Evil 3, because Resident Evil 3, it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't bad either. But on those times, there weren't DLCs. Resident Evil 3 could easily be a DLC. Just showing how Jill Valentine has to escape the city, that would be perfect. And it also would be great if it matches the timeline at the exact time of Resident Evil 2. For example, maybe Leon finds something that's in the middle of an alley, and you don't know how it got there, and the game never explains what it is, but maybe later on, Jill Valentine is what put that there in the DLC, so it all makes sense. That would be cool. Plus, I would love to have Hunk back and Tofu. If they could do that, that'd be fucking amazing. The second game that I thought was really incredible, which I was impressed, was Last of Us 2. I was skeptical. I really didn't think they were going to show gameplay, because that's just how I feel about Naughty Dog. Sometimes they try to just show us videos instead of actually showing us real gameplay. But now, when the trailer showed on Last of Us, it was nothing but a video, and I was like, "What the fuck?" You see, I was already about to talk when they zoom out and they actually show gameplay. The gameplay for Last of Us is very impressive. Now, don't get me wrong, the sneaking around, this came up after seeing Tomb Raider, so I thought, oh my god, this is just like Tomb Raider. But there were a couple of things in there that I noticed that were different from Tomb Raider. First of all, Ellie can dodge certain attacks. For example, one guy, I think he had like a pickaxe, or it was an axe, and every time he swung, she could dodge it. And she could go through the environment. I think they're in a grocery store or some type of grocery store, and she's able to go between the shelves to go around them and attack them. That is actually really cool. Normally, those little gaps in between those, you can't go through there. And the other thing is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when they go under, she actually goes under the car. So that means that there is a lot more places to hide in this game, which is going to be great. Now, they didn't show us any of the monsters or the clickers or stuff like that, but I mean, for what I saw for Last of Us, that was pretty incredible. Graphic-wise, it tops off 100 times from Last of Us 1. I always said The Last of Us 1 is more of a texture game. Just, they made really good textures. That's why the game looks good. But this game looks unbelievable. The fact that the trailer shows her killing someone and then it just pans out and the level starts, that was incredible. The other game, of course, I don't want to be talking about all the games that Frank talked about, so I don't bore you guys, but I have to talk about it. Cyberpunk, that was actually, I thought it was really cool. I didn't know it was going to be a first-person shooter, so I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, but the way the director talked about it, and they want it to be like that so you can see more details. So you're seeing through the eyes of the character. He or she will be V, which is a mercenary. And when I first saw the trailer, they never really tell you that you can play two different characters or at least two sexes. I did notice that there was a part where she was in a shoot off and she was hiding behind a wall. And that she's wearing the same jacket as V, the male character. I didn't think that it was that you could pick your sex in the beginning. I thought it was be more like Ghost in the Shell or Altered Carbon, which you would be able to just pick a body, because that would be amazing. Is every time you could die, you can just come back in a different body, or say pick the same body, or hell, you can just change bodies whenever you want, upgrade your body. That, to me, if they added that into the game, that would be really cool. That way you don't have to, whatever. You don't want to be the same character. You want to switch it up. That would be cool. Graphic wise, man, they killed it. It looks so unbelievable. The lighting looks amazing. The cyberpunk, they nailed it. That 80s imagination of what the future would look like is pretty incredible. I wanted more like Witcher over, I say, Borderlands, but that's what I want. I want to be able to go do missions and talk to people and investigate and sure, Frank talked about the sex and everything. That is going to be such a huge game. And the fact that you do it in first person, I think they can do more. They don't have to worry about what the character's animation looks like and stuff like that. I think that should be enough. They were talking about that you can hack the bad guys when you go behind them, and that way you can hack information of where you are in the building or see how many other people are with the bad guys. They also said something about bullet time, slow motion, like the Matrix. That's actually going to be really freaking cool. The third game that I wanted to talk about, which Frank didn't talk about, and he did talk about the disappointment of the trailer being used too many times, was Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, Kingdom Hearts 3, how long has it been? Maybe 15 years, 15 years for that game? It's been a long time waiting for this game. And when I saw the trailer where I saw Elsa running on the water, that was a big surprise for me because I totally forgot that Frozen franchise is Disney. So when I saw that was actually really cool. I thought it was cool that, I already thought it was cool that they have Toy Story and they have Wreck-It Ralph, but they showed a third trailer for Sony, which was the Pirates of the Caribbean. And my God, that looked really impressive. That looked like, if you guys remember Kingdom Hearts, whenever they go to a world that has to do with a specific movie, the characters change to that style in order to adapt. Or, for example, they would go to Halloween in Nightmare Before Christmas, and they look like they were Halloween characters, and they just look different. They went to Tron, they look different. And now they go to Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a live version movie, and they made them look. They looked, not that I want to say they look more real, but they look more CG-ish than video game-ish. Whatever they did, it looked better. Like Goofy and Donald look way more lifelike in that world, and I thought that was really cool. One thing that I was very happy about is that at the end of the trailer, they show you that they're going to have Kingdom Hearts Remix 1.2 or whatever the hell, and Kingdom Hearts 2.3 or whatever. I am so happy that I didn't spend money on that because they're going to sell them all three together, and that's just going to save me a lot of money. I wasn't sure if they said it was free or you have to buy the package. But if it's free, that's unbelievable. Because my daughter is probably going to want to play the Kingdom Hearts, and it's good that she'll be able to play from the beginning. Because if you jump into 3, you're going to be lost. Hell, from 2 to 3, there was about 5 Nintendo DS games, and I'm going to be lost in 3. So hopefully, it's not too bad where I can at least pick up from part 2. The fourth game that I want to talk about that I saw in E3 was Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider looked pretty amazing. The way it starts off, I mean, I don't know what's up with Lara. She always ends up in this fucking shitty situation where she's flying in a plane, and Jonah, just stop being friends with Lara, because every time you go with her, something fucked up happens to this guy. This poor fat bastard. Every time. Last time in the second part, he fell off of a mountain, and the first time in part 1, he got shot, and he was in the ship that sunk. I think that you would learn by now. In the third one, he's behind a plane. The plane breaks in half, and hopefully he dies in this one, so he doesn't keep going through this garbage. But they show you parts of, I don't know, they haven't really said it's Mexico, but I mean, there's parts where she's they're celebrating the Day of the Dead. So I'm assuming it's Mexico, or it could be Central America somewhere. But she looks like she's in the jungle and she's close to Mayan ruins and stuff like that. There's going to be some form of attachment to the Mayan history or Incas. I don't know. I really don't know. But when they show you the gameplay of it, where she's sneaking around, see, they were smart that they actually showed this before they showed Last of Us, because that way the sneaking around didn't feel like it was, ripped off. When she walks around, her hiding is pretty much the same of all the other games that she's done before. But one thing that I noticed is that she picks up mud on the ground and she covers herself in mud in order to camouflage herself better. I thought that was pretty cool. Poison darts, I think there was something that was poisonous in 2, but she shoots one of the bad guys with a poison dart or a poison arrow, and he starts killing other people. And the arrow rope kill was pretty unbelievable, where she puts the arrow right through the guy's shoulder, jumps down the tree, and then strangles him with it. That is actually really cool. I'm really excited about Tomb Raider. I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider. I can't wait to see the Tomb Raider classic, going into the tombs and trying to solve puzzles. That's one of my favorite things about the Tomb Raider. And that's one of the things that people hated the most. So get ready, because it's coming back. Another game that I saw that was very interesting was the Super Smash Brothers. Now, a lot of people are going to say it's the same game. It is pretty much the same game, but the roster. They're bringing every single character that has ever came out in any Super Smash Brother game. That is from 1999, if I'm not mistaken, for the Nintendo 64. Maybe it was 98. All the way to 2016. Do you guys realize how many characters that is? I think it was in the 50s or 60s amount. And they're bringing every single Bowser child. Snake is back. Solid Snake is back. And God, Frank is crossing his fingers. And I think they'll do it. I think they will bring a Solid Snake amiibo. It just only makes sense because they have amiibos pretty much for every character, so you can progress your character so it levels up. So why not do it for Solid Snake? I guarantee it's going to be out, unless Konami is an asshole, which usually they are, but I'm pretty sure they're going to do it. I think it's an incredible feat. I played the one for Wii U, but I didn't like it that much because I didn't get my full 1080, and I think it was 1080i or something like that, but I feel like now that it's on the Switch, it's going to be a lot more smoother. 1080p, plus you can play with your friends. They added the 8 players together. How are they going to do the 8 players? I have no idea. 8 controllers. Who the hell carries 8 controllers? Who the hell brings 8 friends over to play the game? You definitely can't play 8 people when it's in the stand or while it's on your hand. So that's going to be weird. It has to be in a TV. But I'm very excited about this game. The online features, we don't know yet what Nintendo's going to do about that, but I think it's going to be cool. I think it'll be very worth it. The other cool things that they did was that you're going to bring the GameCube controllers back to the Switch so you can use it. I guess you need to buy an adapter to connect your GameCube controllers, or they might sell GameCube controllers that just connect to the Switch. Knowing Nintendo, they'll probably just resell brand new GameCube controllers to the Switch so they can make their money. What else? So those were pretty much my favorite things in the games, in the E3. If I had to pick my favorite for my... Well, you know what? I'll leave that for last. Let's go to the bad. I'm going to do the bad, and then I'm going to give the what the fuck award to one of these. But you know what? I'll just leave the what the fuck award for whoever deserves it at the very end. First, let's talk about EA. EA's presentation was just so terrible. They barely had anything to show. The one thing that they had, which was definitely what would have made the conference worth it, was Battlefield 5, and that was announced early. So pretty much they were caught with their pants down. They didn't have much. They didn't talk about Anthem then. So it was pretty much 45 minutes of just absolutely garbage. Nothing to see in EA. It felt boring. It didn't feel exciting. I thought it was just a complete waste of time. You should have just put your game out on Xbox or Microsoft and show it, and that's it. People would have seen it, or whatever, the PC conference or something else. But EA, my God, man, this it's just you're not doing too good. The other one was Square. Squaresoft, or Square Enix, how it is now. They didn't even bring a host. They just put trailers on. So they just did a YouTube channel on E3 and wasted everybody's time. It was like half an hour of just videos. Yes, they had Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but what else did they have? They had Dragon Quest, which I'm excited for. I might get Dragon Quest, but I'd rather see gameplay. They didn't talk about Final Fantasy VII. They barely showed anything. It was just trailer. I mean, Octopath, which everybody knows about already. You don't have to show. I think they just introduced 4 more characters, so I guess that's cool. And then they have that Life is Strange attachment that is free that I thought was boring with that kid with a superhero cape. But without Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you had nothing. Nothing. I didn't think anything was interesting. Plus, you didn't have anybody talking, which you don't have to have somebody talking, but don't say you're going to be part of the conference because you didn't do a conference. At least Nintendo puts out the CEO talking like a dubbed version of a Japanese anime, but at least they're putting someone, or Reggie is there. People like to see someone being the host. That's the thing about E3. So when you just put trailers on, I think that is just ridiculously irresponsible and just you just like pretty much spit on everybody's face and you had nothing to show. So don't waste the time. Just bring your games onto the other conferences and let them see it. Why couldn't you just put Rise of the Tomb Raider in the PlayStation or the Microsoft conference? It would have been the same thing. The other thing that on the bad was the online stuff. Frank already talked about his side. I'll talk about mine. I don't like that everything's going online. And for God's sake, if anybody who's listening to this thinks that the future is on phones, maybe it is in another 15, 20 years. But to bring Elder Scrolls online is not online. Elder Scrolls on an phone is so stupid and such a waste of time. Yes, it looked pretty, and yes, I like the example of somebody in a boardroom playing the fucking Elder Scrolls while somebody's giving a presentation. Hell, if I had to sit through that shit, I would have actually been playing the game too, because Bethesda, you just bored me to hell today with that garbage of a presentation. Everything online. Fallout 76 I was excited for, and then you just give it to me and it's online. Maybe a lot of people are going to play it online. Hell, I might get it just to play it online. but I can't really judge it yet. But why do you have to do it online? Why do we have to pick up the trend of everyone? I guarantee you would sell the most just doing the game. But I know, just like everything else, corporations only care about the money. You do Fallout Online, and if it's free, that's great. But they're still going to stick it to you by buying new things to it, buying keys for those nuclear weapons, and making you have new costumes and stuff like that. You are going to pay. Trust me. If it's free, you are going to pay. You are going to pay. If it's not free, you're still going to pay. You're paying for your monthly service. They might even add the monthly service, and you have to pay for new stuff, like a new ride or new costumes. Why do they have to do this to Fallout? I don't understand. So basically, everything that Rage 2 is going to be is what Fallout should have been. I guess they said, it's too much apocalypse and too little online. So let's just pick one. But they could have made Rage Online and leave Fallout on a single title. That's my opinion. And the other thing that I found, which is part of E3, but it wasn't in the conference, is once again, Sony decides, I don't want to share my toys. Why does Sony have to do this? If Nintendo Switch can play with PC, phone, Xbox, Fortnite, why can't Sony do it? Now, I heard something about if you had a character on your PlayStation, you're locked out. You can't transfer it over to your Switch one. What? Well, I mean, Sony, you're good, but you're not that fucking good. And if you're going to be cocky like that, you're going to lose a lot of people. Because right now, for what I saw in the conference of Microsoft is being very nice to their players. And Sony, you're just thinking that your shit don't stink because everybody's buying your system. And if I'm not mistaken, that was your big mistake when the PlayStation 3 came out. You were cocky. Everybody had a PlayStation 2. You thought you were untouchable. Let's put out a $600 fucking console. $600. $600 back then on a PC would have gotten you a lot. Way stronger. But you were cocky. And you're starting to get cocky again. And if you keep getting cocky, you will pay for the next generation. Trust me, Xbox is doing it right. They may be losing this race, but they are winning the people by being nice to them. When the new Xbox comes out, people are going to jump to the Xbox, and they're going to remember how the fuck you treat them, Sony. So you better get your shit together. Let the people play crossplay. What is the problem with crossplay? There's nothing wrong with it. You do it with Final Fantasy and you do it with Street Fighter. So what is the problem? Why can't you do it for Fortnite, which is a free game? What does it matter to you? Okay. And now the What the Fuck award goes to Sony again. With the presentation conference that was like, it was such a bad way to do a conference. Whoever came up with the idea should be fired, really, because the fact that you sit there and you're telling people, okay, we're all going to sit here, and they started off like in a church. I think they built that church on a small theater. So I was like, oh my God, look how small the theater is. And after it was done, you don't say anything. You zoom out. You fade away to three idiots talking at a table. And then you're moving everybody to another theater. Where does that sound like it's a fucking good idea? Who does that? Who does that? Can you imagine Apple presenting the new iPhone, but instead, every time they show an iPad, they move you to a new theater. iPod, let's go to another theater. Oh, your iPhone, let's go to another theater. Oh, now the iMac, let's go to another theater. People would be pissed. Where did you think that was a good idea? And then, to top it off, no one knew when it fucking ended. Everybody was like, what the hell just happened? We stood there waiting to see what would happen, like an idiot waiting for the end credits of a Marvel movie. Waiting, except there was nothing at the end of the credits. Why didn't you say, thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your day of E3. So we knew it was over and we didn't waste our time there waiting to see. I saw people walking away. I thought, oh, probably moving to another theater. Nope. It was over. And that's why you get the award for what the fuck, Sony, because that's the what the fuck award for you. You made everybody think that. What the fuck is going on? So make sure you give me a nice speech of why you deserve that award. Okay, now for the missing. Borderlands 3. We didn't see anything about Borderlands. I saw nothing of Gearbox. I'm starting to think that Borderlands is not going to come out till maybe fall of next year, and they don't have anything to show you. Metro Prime 4. Nintendo didn't show anything about Metro Prime 4, but that one's not shocking for me because Nintendo takes a long time to make their games. So the fact that they just show you a title last year just shows me that they have nothing. They probably just in production too. Final Fantasy VII. This, I knew they weren't going to show anything. I wasn't shocked either because Final Fantasy VII has been a fucking mess. They just scrapped it, and then I guarantee you that's going to come out for the next generation or maybe 2023. But the way it's going, the way how disorganized Square is right now with that, I don't think we're going to get anything for Final Fantasy VII Remake anytime soon. Square, do me a favor, write a letter to Capcom and let them show you how you do a remake. That's how you do it. And no Splinter Cell for Ubisoft. I know it's been a while since we got a Splinter Cell, but rumors were that you guys were going to show it. Though you had a great presentation, a Splinter Cell would have actually killed it. You probably would have gotten a way better score from us if you would have showed something. Because I feel like every conference should have a surprise. And I feel like the only one who had surprises was Sony. The other one, the one that Frank talked about, his formula, his calculations with Ed Boon. He knew exactly. He had a formula. He showed it to me in paper. He showed me mathematics of how he knew that Mortal Kombat 11 was going to come out eventually for this E3 because that's how he does it every year. And Ed Boon didn't show shit. He didn't show. He wasn't even there. There is not going to be a Mortal Kombat 11 maybe till next year, maybe the year after that. And that he would definitely show something in E3. That's when he tends to show it. So I'm sure Frank heard that and he's probably pissed. If I have to give the scores of, let's start off with the game that deserved it the most. And I wanted to give it to Cyberpunk, but Cyberpunk didn't really give me that feeling. I almost screamed like a girl's feeling when I saw Resident Evil 2. When I saw the remake for Resident Evil 2, I was so excited, so fanatically insane that day because that was a big surprise. Nobody saw it coming, especially since it was towards the end of E3, the presentations, and I didn't think it was going to happen. And the way they presented it, where they did it the exact style they did it with God of War. They showed off the little boy, he's going somewhere, and then Kratos pops out of the shadows. It was the exact, if you look at it, it's the exact same way, and that's why it worked. Leon shoots the zombie, you have no idea what the fuck is going on, and he steps out of the shadows. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. You don't believe me? Listen to the audience scream. They were flipping out. They loved it, and they ate that shit up. That's how you do it. That's how you show a surprise. If I have to score everything, we're going to start off with Microsoft. Microsoft showed a lot of games, showed things that they're doing to improve for the customers, and I really feel that their presentation was good. It was the same, you just in a theater, and they had people playing, and they showed some games, and I would give them a B+. I thought they did really good. EA, oh my God. EA was just so horrible. It's an F. EA's presentation was an F. F. What was the one after that? Was Bethesda. Frank was a little harsh for Bethesda. Bethesda talked about Diablo 2, What she was right and I was wrong, but they only showed words. They show a little trailer and nothing, no real gameplay. But other than that, I don't like that they're going online. I don't like that they're focusing so much on their phone features. I don't care about the phone. But God, man, I'm not even sure if Bethesda, I mean, just give me something. If they would have shown a trailer for Elder Scrolls other than that garbage of just showing me the words. I hate when people do that. I think it's so dumb. But hey, I guess that's the way to do it now. Just show words and get people excited. I mean, we might not see that for the next generation, the PlayStation 5 or PC. It'll be GTX 1280s for all we know. So get ready to save some money. What did we got after that? Square. Square was an F-. That was just terrible. Nobody to talk, just trailers. I could just sit on YouTube and let it just pick videos for me, and it would have been better than watching that garbage. It was just terrible. YouTube could have done a way better job. So you just put your videos in YouTube and then tell people to hit play, and that would have been way easier. You save so much more money. The other one was, what was it? After Square Enix was PlayStation. PlayStation really gave me the best games. The games were so amazing. Everything that I was watching was great. There were a couple of things that I wasn't interested in, like the Game Dreams and stuff like that. But they did do a really good job on showing you games. E3, people go for games. That's when they go. They go for games, and that's what they want to see. And then they fucked it up with that presentation of a conference that was so horrible, moving people up and down. They would have gotten an A+ of how many games they showed and had people all happy about it. But nope. They just had to go fancy, put a guy in a banjo in the beginning, and let's say, everybody, let's move. And then they showed another guy playing some other bullshit. Come on. Quit that garbage and just do it like it's been doing it for the last 20 years. Just go up in a theater and talk about your games. That's it. Why would you change it? Why would you change that? I don't understand. Can someone please email me and let me know why they thought that was a good idea? Anyway, guys, that's my take on E3. And that was Frank's before with all E3. We're going to start doing the podcast again together at the same time. It was that he had surgery, so we had to do separate recordings. He's probably drugged right now somewhere. But he's good. He did all right. He's doing perfect. So that's good for him. Remember, guys, we appreciate everything. We appreciate you guys listening. Give us a shout out on our Twitter at Evil Metal Gamers, or you can email us at evilmetalgamers@gmail.com. We have Discord. We have Facebook. We have the website, Evil Metal Gamers. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We wouldn't be where we are without you guys. Thank you so much. And you guys take care.